Welcome back to Chapter 19 of Pirates of Savannah. Almost there. We're coming around the bend here for the last few chapters. Hope you're enjoying the free audio version. Please remember to check out lupolilink.com, where you can see my other projects, make a donation, or even buy the book. Enjoy. Chapter 19, Pirate Tunnels. Once the group made it to a familiar area, the men said their goodbyes and their heartfelt thanks to their Indian guides. "Thank you, Solatiki. Your debt is paid to me," Patrick informed him as the group dismounted. "Here, take your horses." "When the spirit horse comes for me, white man, he will know all my debts are paid." The Indian smiled. Solatiki's injured companion stumbled over to Isaac and handed him a battle-worn tomahawk. It had a stunning hand-carved cherry handle, but the iron blade had chips on the edge from bone strikes. Isaac was grateful for the gift and locked wrist with the injured Yamacraw to show him respect. Patrick nodded his head, and the Indians quickly made their exit. The four walked into Darien and back to William's farm without any pursuers. Perhaps the British would assume the Spanish poisoned them, or that Garland had fled to join the Spanish. They were just glad to be far away from the war. The group settled into William's home, but kept a nervous eye out. "William, do you think any of the other soldiers recognized you at Fort Frederica?" Patrick asked with concern. "No, lad. I do not recognize the guards, and the camp be pretty much empty. I think we be out of the fire now," William surmised. "Ouch!" Garland yelled. Patrick smashed a large green horsefly on Garland's arm, leaving a smudge of blood and fly parts. "I'm still not used to all these biting bugs. Oh, and the heat is brutal. They might have well built Savannah on the fucking sun," Garland complained. "Patrick, methinks the three of you best stay here for a few days and lay low while I put the word out that you need a ship to Cape Fear," William advised. "Look at you three men. Come off with your coats. Look how filthy they are. It'll take me all morning to dust these out," Deborah cut in. The three men handed over the riding jackets, which were covered with Georgian red clay. It was an exercise in futility to try and wash them, as the dust would turn to clay and stain the fabric. Deborah instead hung the coats on a rope outside and began brushing them with a small hand broom. She called Lorne and Lindsay to help, and with forceful strokes they brushed until red dust filled the air. William enjoyed watching his family do mundane daily chores like brushing. He was settling into the idea of a quiet farming life. "Patrick, did I tell you? I took some of me gold and ordered a fold of Kylo," William announced proudly. "What are those?" Garland questioned. "They be Highland cattle. Hairy beast with long horns. They're black, red, or yellow, but I ordered dun," the Scot explained. "What is dun?" Isaac queried. "For Christ's sake, have none of you ever worked a farm? Dun is the color between sandy yellow and reddish brown. Their bodies be lighter than their tails and manes," William explained. "I be figuring Savannah is getting dangerously low on wild game. I could stand to make a killing on cattle here." "That's a fine idea, William. Just figure out a way to keep Oglethorpe's troops from up and stealing your cattle when they get hungry," Patrick warned. "Aye, Darien's building a network of spies. We'll know hours before the king's men ever arrive. Plenty of time to be hiding the cattle in the swamps and woods," the kilted man explained. Later, William dispatched word that the men needed silent passage back to the Argyle colony through his clan network. As the men relaxed, William explained the local goings-on of the Darien colony. "The Highlanders have lost their trust in Oglethorpe. After most of the men in this town were killed or were captured at Fort Mose, he changed ancient Scottish law. That angered the old traditional men of the village something awful." "What did Oglethorpe change?" the Jewish man wanted to know. "The arrogant bastard changed inheritance rights to tail general. ignoring hundreds of years of tradition of tail-male rights. William pouted. I'm not following you. What does that mean? Patrick questioned. It means bloody women can inherit an own land now, he snapped. Aye, lad. Everything is changing after the Fort Mose massacre. Remember, the trustees of Georgia paid for us to move here and be their soldiers. The trustees forgot that Scots don't care for authority none and are not easily controlled. We fell out of favor rather quickly. In 1739, 18 of the most prominent members of Darien's colony signed the first petition against the introduction of slavery into Georgia. This was a response to please Oglethorpe, because the trustees and inhabitants of Savannah wanted to lift the prohibition on slavery. Since then, most of the people of Savannah have hated the Scots of Darien. Allowing women to own land was a real spit in the eye to us. Many kinfolk be ignoring their soldierly obligations and have moved to South Carolina. If things be staying like this in Georgia, we might be joining my kin as well. Many men, myself included, will no longer ride with the Highlander Rangers or march with the Highlander Independent Company afoot. We feel all the deaths at Fort Mose fulfilled our obligation to king and country. Wherever you end up, we will find you and raid your wife's wonderful haggis. Patrick smirked. The men had a hearty laugh and reveled in their fellowship. A day later, Patrick finally caught up with Garland alone, out by the stream washing a cooking kettle. So, after our family passed, what did you do? Patrick asked.
Well, brother, nothing I am proud of. I survived stealing scraps of food where I could. I lived with a large group of homeless orphans who roamed the streets. We got quite good at getting food and clothes, but it was a horrible life. Later on, a church-going woman took pity on me and gave me a job as a servant in her house. It was nice to sleep indoors again, but the work was very hard.
She continued.
My benefactor demanded that I go to church with her every single day and live a pious life in her home. It was annoying and frustrating, but I was grateful to be fed and dry, so I kept working there until I became a full-grown woman. Sadly, her husband, who was a deacon in the church, noticed I was now a woman too. He forced himself on me for over a year, until I finally got pregnant by him. Right about the time I got your letter, I started to show. The lady of the house was mortified and embarrassed. She accused me of being a loose strumpet. I explained to her that her husband pressed himself on me, but she would not believe it. She forced me to drink a tea that caused me to lose the baby. I lost so much blood, I almost died. She had no mercy for me and threw me into the street, but not before I stole some gold doubloons from her. I used the money to bribe my way onto a ship and to find you. Once I was aboard, the captain double-crossed me and sold me into indentured service.
Patrick interrupted. Let me guess. Was this bastard captain named Mr. Gibbons?
Yes. How did you know?
She exclaimed. Patrick then told her every detail of his hard life since they had been separated. The two really enjoyed the few days of peace to catch up and grow close again. Isaac also enjoyed Garland's company as well. Unlike Patrick, she was very interested in his religion and wanted to know every detail about it. She told him how she enjoyed learning about all different religions and wanted to know all about Judaism. Isaac and Garland stayed up late at night, discovering and debating the differences in their beliefs. A week had passed, and William finally had some news. Lads, I got good and bad news for you. I think I found you a ride to Cape Fear, but you have to go to Savannah to catch it. That would be folly. We best just wait for another ship that'll come to Darien, Isaac insisted. There won't be another ship for a month, so this be it, boys. If you'll miss this, you'll be staying the winter with us, William explained. We promised Marian we would be back to help them with the harvest and see the baby born. We have to risk it, old friend, Patrick reasoned. Well, if it'll help your chances, there is a shady tavern built on the bluff right near the trustee's garden. The garden is falling apart, and they're talking about cutting it up into lots for residents. Some people have already built a few structures over in the garden in anticipation. One of the houses has become a den for the illegal spirits, a legal trade, and a place to bed for known men. You will know it by the triple lanterns it has in the front and its tabby walls. If you go at night, you should be able to get to that tavern without being noticed. There you'll be able to barter for passage to Cape Fear anonymously, the Scot explained. Well, it'll give me a chance to get my gold. We have to do it, Isaac, Patrick resolved. Fine, but if you get my neck stretched, I will follow you around cursing you in the afterlife, Isaac threatened. Well, at least I'll have a friend to keep me company in eternal damnation. Patrick laughed. Isaac became serious and mumbled. It is not funny to joke about damnation. You tempt fate with talk like that. Sorry, my Hebrew friend. I forget how serious you take those stories. My apologies bestowed on to you, my brother. Shall we pack up and catch this ship tonight? Garland and Isaac agreed and began packing up immediately. William, I'm not sure when I'll be back this way, but you and your family are welcome to stay with me if you ever need a place. You are family to me, and Archibald would be very grateful for what you have done to help his family. I'll miss you, Sovereign Macintosh. Aye, lad. Come back soon. I'll miss you and the Jew, too. I'll wear Archibald's tartan proudly until it crumbles from me body. William vowed. The men embraced, and Patrick, Isaac, and Garland were quickly on their way back to Savannah. They traveled by daylight so as not to tempt the road agents. By nightfall, the three had made it to the edge of the trustee's garden. Since Isaac had done nothing to alter his appearance, Patrick instructed him and Garland to remain hidden. He assumed no one would recognize him, clean-shaven and with new clothes, if Patrick was seen from a distance. I'm going to get my gold, he smiled as he left. Patrick cautiously scurried around the edge of the town, staying out of sight. At one point, he caught a glimpse of the Freeman's house, now occupied by a group of soldiers. They were laughing and drinking under the dogwood and were oblivious to Patrick's movements. He navigated into the swamp and quickly located his buried booty. He used a large oyster shell to dig in the moonlight, and the pouch was soon unearthed. He pulled the gold out in triumph and rattled it to hear the jingle of happiness. This gold is going to change my family's life for the better, he proudly thought. Before, he could not support those who supported him, but now everything had just changed. He was excited and could barely concentrate as he circled back to his waiting friends. Was it still there? Isaac asked. Patrick smiled from ear to ear. Let's go book us a ship. Come on, let's get to the Three Lantern Pub, he ordered. It was surprisingly easy to locate after William described what they were looking for. They spotted the small brick building with 3 lamps hanging to the right side of the oak door. It was located right in front of the herb house. The illegal pub also had some stone stairs leading down to a rum cellar in the back. They knocked 3 times, then twice, then once, as they were instructed by William. After a minute, the door cautiously cracked open, and a ragged old man peeked out the cracked door. "What do you want?" he screeched with his gravelly voice. "We are thirsty, good man, and want a drink, of course," Patrick replied. The unkempt man barked back, "You can drink, but no women or Jews." "I really want my friends to drink with me. Are you sure I can't get you to change your policies just for tonight?" Patrick asked as he flashed a bright yellow coin before the dirty man's eyes. "Well, if you got that much color, then I can look the other way just for tonight," he stated as he opened the door for the 3 of them. The pub was very small by tavern standards and poorly lit. Just 2 tables and a bar adorned the establishment, with a back storage room. One of the tables was occupied by a stunning blonde temptress dressed in a flashy yellow skin-tight dress. and a skinny sunburned bearded man who looked vaguely familiar.
I thought you said there's no women. Well, what the hell's that then?
Garland shrilly asked as she pointed to the extremely large-breasted blonde woman. Oh, that's no woman, the grouchy old man scoffed. She's the whoremaster, Mrs. Darden. I advise just leaving her be. The three sat at the bar and ordered rum. The old man with the filthy beard went in the back and returned with 3 small wooden tumblers filled with foul-smelling rum. The three made a toast to a new life together and down the round.
Just bring the jug, sir. We will want more. What's your name, bartender?
Garland asked pleasantly. Me name is Jim Jacks, and I ain't bringing you no jug until I get paid, the old man barked. Isaac pulled out his last 6 silver rounds and ordered, Keep the rum flowing. Jim went in the storage room and returned with a dark brown jug with corks surrounding it. He poured another 3 rounds. Jim, I am told by my friend William that you are a man who knows how to find stuff. He told me you could find the Jewish gardener who used to work in the trustee's garden. He was rumored to grow some real dandy hemp bud. Patrick pressed. You speak of Gardener Goldsmith. He grows the best smoke around. Unfortunately, he is like a bugbear or a ghost. He is almost impossible to find. Sorry, I can't help you with that. There be anything else I could help you locate? The dirty old man asked. I'm told you could help procure passage on one of those vessels down by the docks, Patrick inquired. That be true. I have been known to help those of wealth from time to time. Where do you be wanting to go? The filthy man inquired. We need passage to Cape Fear, and we need a vessel to leave as soon as possible. Tonight even. Can you arrange it with one of the captains? I'll pay you well if you can make this happen for us. Patrick held up a gold doubloon. The old man drooled at the sight of the gold, but he composed himself and quickly stated, With that kind of color, you get the good rum. He removed the brown jug and replaced it with a bottle from under the counter. I think I can help you, but you'll have to wait here a while. Drink your spirits, and I'll see what I can do. The filthy bearded man returned to the back room. The three had another couple rounds of the good rum, and a feeling of relaxation and euphoria came over them.
This is some powerful firewater.
Garland slurred.
My brain already hurt.
Before her words were finished, she slumped out of her chair and hit the ground. Isaac dropped down and tried to pick her up from the filthy red clay floor. The Goliath stumbled to his feet, holding her in his arms. He wrestled with keeping his eyes open and sat back down. The last thing Patrick saw before his world went dark was Isaac's massive body slumped over his sister's, and a bow-legged man standing over them. Oh, Lord. Jim drugged them. Take them to the tunnels in the cellar and go find help. Be fast. We only have minutes. A woman's voice rang in Patrick's ear before he lost consciousness.
No, no, no!
Garland screamed. Patrick opened his hazy eyes at her loud voice, piercing his ears. He slowly shook off the brain sloth and focused on his surroundings. When his eyes finally became clear, he realized he was in the dimly lit quarters of a ship.
This can't be. This is my mark carved into this wood plank.
Garland belted out. Where are we? Garland, what are you yelling about? Isaac asked as he slowly sat up, holding his pounding head.
Open your eyes, fools. Look around. Does any of this look familiar?
Garland screeched. Patrick and Isaac surveyed their surroundings and at the same time muttered, No, it can't be.
Yes, you idiots. We're prisoners back on the Robin. I carved my mark into this wood on my voyage over,
Garland exclaimed. Oh, God, Isaac, do you think we just got pressed into service on the Robin? Oh, shite, my gold is gone too, damn it. Patrick yelled and joined his sister's state of panic. Isaac, filled with anger. I have finally tasted freedom. I will no longer live as any man's slave. I say we make our stand, brother. We die fighting on our feet. Agreed. Isaac and I will throttle the first man through the door. Once he's on the ground, sister, you must stomp the life out of him with your bare feet, Patrick instructed.
I will not be a filthy sailor's sex slave,
Garland resolved grimly. I hear someone coming. I will go low, you go high, Isaac. And sister, you stomp. Now quiet until we ambush, Patrick whispered. The two men's bodies filled with fighting juices, and time seemed to slow. The door was unlocked, then opened, and the men wasted no time in their bull rush. Patrick bound the man's feet with a leaping tackle. Isaac swung hard and struck the man in the mouth. Since his feet were already tangled, the victim blew backwards, hitting his head against the wall. Blood from the man's mouth spattered all over Patrick's shirt. Fuck you, you gut-eating Jew bastard, the man spat. Isaac, stop. Everybody, stop, Patrick shouted. Damn right, you gut-humping best be stopping. I fucking rescue you from certain death by red coat, and this is me thanks? Goddamn Jew. Now, I only got 4 teeth left, Seamus yelled as he coughed out another bloody tooth.
Wait, why aren't we killing this man?
Garland asked in confusion. Isaac helped the small, foul-mouthed Irishman to his feet. I am so sorry, Seamus. We thought you came to murder us. So what in the name of Moses is going on? Well, Isaac Schwartz, this best be explained better up topside. Come on, the toothless man motioned. The small group made their way up the familiar old staircase of the Robin into the blinding sunlight. They could feel the old galleon rocking under their feet and knew they were in open waters. Why does my husband have blood all over him, Irishman? A woman's voice boomed. Ma'am, these crazy man-humping bastards played gladiator with me. That be my blood, Captain April Sky, Seamus responded. A tawdry-dressed, tattooed woman stepped out from the crew. Be it known, crew, April announced. Any of you even step on my husband's toe, and I'll burn you down. Isaac, Garland, and Patrick questioned April in unison. Husband? That's right, me husband, April stated. Our child is not growing up a bastard. Isaac, Garland, and Patrick questioned April in unison. Child? As if on cue, a small baby toddled over and leaned on her mother's tattooed leg to keep balance. I think I'm going to fall down, Patrick motioned as he collapsed into his sister's arms. Who is this harlot to be hugging on my husband? April demanded. Wait, Captain. This is Patrick's sister from London, Isaac spoke up. Her name is Garland. Patrick started counting the months on his hands. Well, I guess by the age of that young'un, it could be mine. But how do you know? April smiled, saying, Because, my dear, you're the only man I have laid with in a long time. It's yours, or it's God's child. What's his name? Patrick asked as he approached. Well, he is a she, and her name is Tracy. The proud mother smiled. She? Tracy? That's an odd name, Patrick stated. You uneducated fool. It is an ancient Gaelic name, meaning warlike and fierce. She beat me insides up so bad, I figured she's a natural warrior, April explained. Let us go below deck in private and talk some more. The captain left Tracy with a crewwoman named Miss Bias and took Patrick below deck to the captain's private quarters. She kissed him passionately and started undressing him. Patrick enjoyed the kiss, but was rearing from the confusion. I don't remember any wedding when we had our sexual odyssey to Jekyll Island. Did I take a blow on the head and lose my senses? Patrick asked as his breeches fell to the floor. Let me remind you, I am captain, and on this vessel I can marry anyone I please. So, I married us, April stated with authority as she dropped to her knees in front of him. Patrick noticed her breasts were still swollen from weaning. She had already regained her slender form, but her tits now looked much fuller. The tattoo of the alligator on her left breast now appeared to be eating the black cat on the right. I see. I still think I'm supposed to say I do and have a proper ceremony and such, Patrick continued. Here, take this. She smiled as she placed a ring on the top of the tip of his erect penis. Now say you do. I don't think that's how it works, he laughed. The ring flew across the room as she mounted him, and the sex marathon began again. After a few hours of vigorous thrusting from multiple positions, they both became very hungry and thought about stopping to eat. You know it is important our daughter not grow up a bastard child. So as far as this crew knows, we've been married since Jekyll Island. I do find you a good man, Patrick, and I would be a great wife to you if you'll have me. The sex is fantastic, but I think love could eventually bud from this union. I'll go down on you one more time if you agree. She laughed with a devilish grin. Well, if that's the case, find that ring and get on your knees again. But let me warn you of this, though. It best not be like all the husbands I know, where this'll be the last one I get as soon as I accept this ring. He chuckled. He watched her beautiful naked body search the floor for the ring. Here it is, my wolf, she triumphantly announced. She approached him and handed it to him. A sadness overtook Patrick when he realized he had nothing for her. I know this whole exchanging of rings is a new tradition, but I feel heavy-hearted, as I do not have one to give you. Well, you're in luck, she told Patrick. I already have one I like for meself. She handed him the odd-looking ring. Patrick examined it with his jeweler's knowledge and told April what she had. This is an antique scribbling ring made in the 16th century for lovers. Do you see these stones set across the top here? They're uncut diamonds. Tradition is you use the stones to etch romantic notes on window panes, mirrors, or glass. He handed the ring back to her. Well, it is bad luck not to follow tradition. She stood up in all her naked splendor and carved "My Wolf" into a small pocket mirror. She placed it back in his hands and said, My love is as fragile as this glass. If this mirror ever shatters, so will my heart. Keep it safe at all times. Can you find anything even more fragile? I want a real challenge, her lover said sarcastically. She flicked him in the ballsack, and he yelped, Ow! So let's make this proper. Let us say, I do, together. She offered. They both slid the rings on each other's hands and whispered, I do. I guess this means that we have to go down on each other at the same time as well. She giggled and swung her hips towards his face.